Jesus, the King of Kings, spent 3 days in hell. But what is even more shocking is what he did while he was there. Our Lord Jesus is a preacher of righteousness. He never stops talking about his Father, and this was true even in death. For Christ also suffered once for sins, the righteous for the unrighteous, to bring you to God. He was put to death in the body, but made alive in the spirit. After being made alive, he went and proclaimed to the imprisoned spirits. To those who were disobedient long ago, when God waited patiently in the days of Noah while the ark was being built. In it, only a few people, 8 in all, were saved through water. That's right, Jesus was alive in spirit even after his death and before his resurrection. Before appearing to his apostles, he was preaching to the imprisoned spirits. This has sparked much debate about whether or not Jesus was preaching to the humanity who lost their souls in the flood, or the 39, who are later translated as fallen angels. While some believe it refers to humanity, we believe that Peter himself gives us a hint later on in 2 Peter 2 verse 4, where it says, "For God did not spare angels when they sinned, but sent them to Tartarus, putting them in chains of darkness to be held for judgment." Tartarus is a place separate from hell, a prison in which they are held, reserved for judgment. It seems quite clear then that Peter was talking about fallen angels when he mentioned spirits being preached to in prison. The next point of controversy is what it means by, quote, Jesus preached to them exactly. Could it be that the fallen angels are given a second chance? Well, probably not, but we're not exactly sure. While it does not mention that the demons will be thrown into the lake of fire and brimstone, along with Satan and his false prophet, Jesus himself does explicitly tell us in Matthew 25 verse 41. It says, quote, "Then he will also say to those on his left, 'Depart from me, accursed ones, into the eternal fire which has been prepared for the devil and his angels.'" So clearly, the devil's angels will indeed be thrown into that eternal fire, along with Satan the devil. Sounds pretty clear, doesn't it? But there's a huge problem. That problem is Revelation 12 verse 9, where it says, "And the great dragon was cast down, the old serpent, he that is called the devil and Satan, the deceiver of the whole world. He was cast down to the earth, and his angels were cast down with him." So, how are Satan's angels being thrown down to earth if they are already imprisoned in Tartarus? It seems that these are two different groups of angels. Now, we're not saying that they will get separate judgment, but interestingly, the Bible reserves these fallen angels for judgment, rather than just throwing them directly into the lake of fire, along with the devil and his angels, the ones who will be thrown down to earth. So, Jesus preaches directly to those angels that have been imprisoned in Tartarus since the days of Noah separately. What might he have said to them? No doubt he would have declared his victory over the devil, pronouncing that the time is near for them to be released and judged. But what kind of judgment will they receive? Satan is thrown into the abyss for 1,000 years. Could that be where those and quote, fallen angels had been spending their days before being released along with Satan and the rest of his angels? Quite possibly, we are and 39 completely sure. The words Tartarus and abyss are very similar to one another. Nobody knows what the judgment of the fallen angels is exactly except for God and Jesus. For example, Satan is thrown into the lake of fire and brimstone, whereas those who are not written in the book of life are thrown into the lake of fire only, signifying the second death. Whatever the case may be, Jesus, preaching to these fallen angels, must have been significant. Otherwise, Peter wouldn't have written it down.